Hare Krishna, welcome to today's session. My name's Madhuri Dasi and today we're doing the glories of Hanuman. Am I audible? Looks like I'm audible. So thank you very much. We're very humbled by your presence, patience and perseverance in joining us on this journey with Lord Ram and the glories of Hanuman today. Tomorrow is Sri Ram Navami, the main day, and Nishingananda Prabhu will give the lecture on the leadership qualities of Lord Ram. So we completed on day 1 Ramayana, mythology of fact. Day 2, lessons from extraordinary personalities, Ravan's qualities of destruction. On day 3, day 4, which was yesterday, the exceptional qualities of Sita Devi. And today we're embarking or making a humble attempt to speak on the glories of Hanuman, the great devotee of Lord Ramachandra. So tomorrow is a very interesting subject, the transformational leadership of Lord Ramachandra, and then depending on Krishna willing, Lord Ram willing, day 7 can be stumbling blocks to stepping stones. So let's just repeat the invocation responsively. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So just to quickly recap and to refresh our memories of what we learned yesterday, one very striking point was the chastity of Sita Devi and how powerful that was in the entire episode. Just going back on to the question Meera asked yesterday regarding why did Lord Ram banish Sita, and it's seemingly heartless. Indeed, it would be a question in many of our hearts that from our material perspective we will feel that why did this happen? It's seemingly unfair. So as I quoted from the Padma Purana to Meera on the WhatsApp group, for those of you that didn't catch up with it, Lord Ram, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he at no time does he interfere with the minute independence of the living entity. Everything that happens in our existence has a root cause, and that root cause is our desire. So Sita Devi's banishment is also attributed to this fact that Lord Ram did not interfere in the minute independence of Sita Devi. When Sita Devi was very young, she encountered 2 parrots that were from the ashram of the sage Valmiki. So as you heard about the glorious life and teachings of Valmiki in the past few days, Valmiki had 2 parrots in his ashram, and parrots have the nature to repeat what they hear. So these parrots, being constantly exposed to the glories of Lord Ram, were flying all over and repeating the glories of Lord Ram. And when Sita saw this, she heard her name and Lord Ram's name being mentioned when she was just a very young girl. So she caught these parrots and she asked them, "Where have you learned this from?" And when she heard that they were actually residents of Valmiki's ashram, and their knowledge was due to the fact that Valmiki was constantly repeating the glories of Lord Ram, she desired to have the association of this great personality. Hence, on their return from Ayodhya, Lord Ram arranged for the fulfillment of that desire. And the other point was that Dasarat, as the king of Ayodhya, Lord Ramachandra's father, he had become guilty of one aspect, that listening to the wife, or trying to oblige his wife Kaikeyi, his third wife, he banished the crown prince Lord Ram. And the citizens of Ayodhya were completely displeased with that. So Lord Ram did not want to fall into the same category of one who listens to his wife. So many facets of the pastime are arranged to actually sort of tick all boxes. So that is a quick recap on the questions. So today we today we go into the glorifications of Lord Rama, of Hanuman, as we said. So why glorify Hanuman? There are so many devotees of the Lord. Why are we in the Ramayana and in the Mahabharata, etc.? But why are we focusing now, before the appearance of Lord Ram, on Hanuman? Actually, Srila Prabhupada, he was one time approached by His Holiness Giriraj Swami with the question that another devotee, a senior devotee, had told His Holiness Giriraj Swami, who was then Giriraj Brahmachari, that the goal of all devotional service in this material world is actually for us to link or to bring together Radha and Krishna, Sita and Ram in the spiritual realm. So Giriraj Das Brahmachari approached Srila Prabhupada to have some clarification on this point. And Prabhupada explained, yes, that this is so. This is so because the materialistic mentality of this world is likened to that of Ravan. Ravan's desire was to separate the goddess of fortune from the supreme enjoyer and try to enjoy that energy on his own. But in the spiritual consciousness, when consciousness is raised, one understands that when these two are brought together, that is the ultimate recipe for peace and self-satisfaction. So in the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, we find that Hanuman is mentioned, that Arjuna, I think it's in text 20 of chapter 1 in Bhagavad Gita, that Hanuman is mentioned as Kapidwaj, that Arjuna has a flag on the top of his chariot bearing the emblem of Hanuman. So one time, so you may ask, why is this so? Why does Arjun keep this flag on the top? Because right on the chariot is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So why does Arjuna need to have Hanuman's blessings? Because to get the blessings of the Supreme Lord, one has to have the mercy of the great devotee of the Lord. Hence Arjuna kept this flag on above his head, so that he could pray to Hanuman that, oh dear Hanuman, you the best amidst devotees, the greatest of fighters, please help me execute my service nicely for the Lord's ultimate pleasure. So that's why Hanuman is actually given so much respect in Vaishnava tradition also. To get the mercy of to get the mercy of the Lord, one has to actually feel helpless. So to get the mercy of a devotee also, one has to actually feel helpless. Hence Hanuman is not just like a picture that we keep on a flag, but it reminds us that we have to have the mood of Arjun, of dependence, in order to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dependence on the mercy of the devotee. So the question was once asked to Srila Prabhupada, how do we feel helpless? Because as we go through life, everything may seem nice and rosy. We may have full facility for our comfort. How in such a circumstance can a person endeavoring on the path of devotional life feel helpless? So in his description of the meaning of the Maha Mantra, Prabhupada gives the example of how to feel that helplessness. He said, in great desperation, as a child cries out to the mother that there is no other shelter, you please help me. That is how we approach the Lord and we cry out to the Lord. In 1973, in a lecture that Prabhupada gave in London, Prabhupada said, nowadays there's so many flags, and Arjun, he also had the flag, Kapidwaj. So Prabhupada went on to explain. He said, he quoted the famous verse, Mahajana Yena Katasa Panta, that one should follow in the footsteps of great personalities, follow in Hanuman's footsteps. Then when Srila Prabhupada said that, one of the devotees asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, when you quoted the verse Mahajana Yena Katasa Panta, and you referred to that we should follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas, how is Hanuman an acharya? Then Prabhupada said, Hanuman is fighting acharya. He is Vrajran Bali. He's Kapidwaj. He's the fighting acharya. Then he asked the devotee, do you understand? And then the devotee said, yes, Hanuman is a fighting acharya. So acharya means one who teaches by example. Furthermore, we find that the Yuga avatar for this age, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he set an example. As the combination of Radha and Krishna, he set an example of how one should also remember Hanuman. You see, Hanuman, if one is in the mood of Dasya Ras and, one is completely entrenched in the service of Lord Ram, then it may not be so comfortable to make entry into Goloka Vrindavan. But Radha and Krishna from Goloka Vrindavan is in the combined form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And hence in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, Hanuman appears as Murari Gupta. And in his form as Murari Gupta, he was implored by Lord Chaitanya, my Lord is Shyamasundar, can you please chant the names of Shyam? And Hanuman kept, in his form as Murari Gupta, he became extremely depressed because he felt he could not give up his intrinsic desire of servitude and his link to Lord Ramachandra. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, knowing the heart of this devotee and entering into his mood, he understood that, and he told Hanuman that he was just testing him, and in actual fact he is Hanuman in his original position, and he does not need to give up the chanting of Lord Ram's names. So everything, Prabhupada said, can be reposed in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the greater good of, or for the greater goal of entrance into Goloka Vrindavan. That even Murari Gupta may not have gained entrance into Goloka by chanting Ram's name, but he would just have gone to Ayodhya. But by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Gaur Ganadesh Dipika, it's explained that there are other associates. Angad, he came as Purandara, and Sugriv, he came as Govinda Nandan, and they all engaged in Gaur Leela, and thus they were able to reach their heart satisfaction to a different level, to a higher degree. So, you would recall that Nrsingananda Prabhu very nicely explained that Lord Shiva in the Padma Purana, he explained that Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param Tasmat Parattaram Devi Tadiyanam Samarchanam. Of all types of worship, worship of Vishnu is the best, and better than the worship of Lord Vishnu is the worship of his devotees, the Vaishnavas. So in a book called the Gita Mahatmya, which is a glorification of every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita by the esteemed Lord Shiva himself to his chaste wife Parvati, he explains that Vishnu Sahasranam, 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva explains, is equivalent to 3 names of Lord Ram. And the utterance of 3 names of Lord Ram is equivalent to 1 name of Krishna. So Lord Shiva himself keeps the Rudrakshmala and he chants the names of Lord Ram, and thus he is the greatest devotee of he is one of the greatest devotees of Lord Vishnu himself. Then Nishingananda Prabhu also covered how Lord Shiva is called Rameshwar, and how Lord Ram, he worshipped the Shivling after the Brahmanas implored him that he had killed a great devotee of Lord Shiva, a Brahmana, Ravana, who was they were referring to Ravan, and thereby he has to worship the Shivling as atonement. And as Maryada Purushottam, to set an example for the rest of humanity, Ram accepted Shiva as his Ishwar and commenced the worship. Nishingananda Prabhu explained how Hanuman went to fetch the Shila, but in the meantime Sita had made the Shila, and that Shila could not be moved, and thus Lord Ram was able to worship the Shila. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that just as the Ganga is the greatest of all rivers, Lord Achyuta, the supreme God, the supreme among deities, and Lord Shambhu Shiva, the greatest of Vaishnavas. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest of all Puranas. So the worship of his devotee pleases the Lord more than worship of him. Then furthermore, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Amala Purana, the cream of all the Vedas, it is stated as quoted here, firm faith in the blissful narration of my pastimes, constant chanting of my glories, unwavering attachment to the ceremonial worship of me, praising me through beautiful hymns, great respect for my devotional service, offering obeisances with the entire body, performing first-class worship of my devotees, consciousness of me in all living entities, offering of ordinary bodily activities in my devotional service, use of words to describe my qualities, offering the mind to me, rejection of all material desires, giving up wealth for my devotional service, renouncing material sense gratification and happiness, and performing all desirable activities such as charity, sacrifice, chanting, vows, and austerities with the purpose of achieving me. These constitute actual religious principles by which those human beings who have actually surrendered themselves to me automatically develop love for me. What other purpose or goal could remain for my devotee? So here Lord Ram is it is being explained how that the consciousness of a devotee is imperative to being based on the foundation of performing first-class worship of his devotees. Then we go on to how to recognize if one is religious. If one considers oneself to be a devotee of Lord Ram, what should he be doing? So in this slide we just heard the Srimad Bhagavatam describing what is the recipe for a devotional consciousness. This is our objective. And by embracing these principles of Dharma, we will then be able to revive our love of God, which is actually lying dormant within us. All knowledge is within your heart because you are made up of Sat, Chit, and Ananda. So it's simply hearing with the proper attitude and reawakening what's already there. And one of the most important principle here is performing first-class worship of Krishna's devotees. Hence, for us to dedicate time to offer respects to great personalities like Hanuman is also very, very important. In a verse in the Ramayana, Hanuman, the great devotee of Lord Ram, said, "I know that there's no difference between Sita, Ram, and Lakshmi, Narayan forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But nevertheless, the form of Ram and Sita has absorbed my affection and love. Therefore, I want to see the Lord in the forms of Ram and Sita." So Hanuman is fixed. As we say, it's cast in stone, cannot be erased. He's fixed, his devotion, his manas, his actions, everything is fixed in bringing pleasure to Ram and Sita. So in the Valmiki Ramayana, Sundarkant 1198, "O King of the Varnas, he who possesses all these four qualities of courage, vision, intellect, and skills, as you do, never fails in performance of his actions. The celestials, the demigods, are all praising Hanuman for this divine quality that he has." So, Hanuman's birth. In every Treta Yuga, we understand that like we have 4 seasons in a year, we have 4 ages. So in Treta Yuga, the Lord appears with his associates as Ram. Sometimes the appearance varies. In different planets with different climatic conditions, there are different types of oceans as mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So during the churning of the milk ocean in the higher planetary systems by the demigods and the demons once, Lord Shiva, he desired to see Vishnu in the form of a lady. And so Vishnu obliged him by appearing in the form of Mohini Murti. But when Krishna, the all-attractive personality, appears as a lady, he is most attractive. So Lord Shiva became completely attracted to this form of Mohini Murti and began to follow her in all directions. And then he discharged some of his Shakti. Some of his Shakti fell, and Vayu, the wind god, carried that to Anjani, who was previously the wife of the spiritual master of the demigods, Brihaspati. So when Anjani, when she was now in this birth, in this lifetime, had taken her birth and was living on this Mount Sumeru as the wife of a very powerful Vanara king named Kesari, then Anjana, while she was sitting in meditation, Vayu deposited this discharge of Lord Shiva into Anjana. And Anjana then conceived a child known as Hanuman. So Hanuman became known as Kesari Nandan. So Hanuman is known as Pavan Putra Hanuman, is known as an aspect of Lord Shiva, and is known as Kesari Nandan. And he has not yet gotten the name Hanuman. So in another time, it was explained that the sweet rice that Dasarat had gotten from a fire sacrifice was given to his wives. And as the third wife was beginning to take the sweet rice, a bird came, and a bird carried a bit of that sweet rice and went and deposited it in Anjana's lap, and Anjana then licked that sweet rice, and that's how this child was conceived. So in other words, the conception of this personality is not material, it's not ordinary, it is super excellent in itself. So Hanuman, so this child Kesari Nandan, he grew up, and Anjana, she left. Anjana told him, she left him with this instruction that, my dear boy Kesari Nandan, she was asked by this child, what should I eat? And she said to Hanuman, look at the sun. It was morning. So the sun was reddish in color, and it was just appearing through the branches of the tree. And when she pointed at the sun through the branches of the tree, it looked like a huge ripe fruit. So she pointed to Hanuman and she said, any fruit from the trees that are as red as that sun, you must eat. So Hanuman, in his understanding of supposedly childlike mentality, decided that he has to eat the sun. So he flew up into the air and he was going to swallow the sun. But this was the time of the eclipse, solar eclipse, and Rahu was also approaching the sun. So Hanuman, in his endeavor to reach the sun, sort of shooed Rahu away, who became very fearsome of this little child who had so much of might, so much of power to actually approach something as brilliant as the sun with no fear at all. So he ran to Indra, his friend, the king of heaven, and he said that this is actually happening. A childlike personality in this form of a Vanar is approaching the sun and is beginning to swallow the sun. And at that time, when the universe became darkened because Hanuman took the sun into his mouth, you see, Surya, understanding the identity, the real identity of the so-called child, dimmed his rays to make Keshari Nandan make it easier. He didn't want to harm this little baby. So Hanuman was thus able to swallow the sun, put the sun into his mouth. So he had the sun in his mouth, and at that time Indra appeared with riding on his elephant, divine elephant Airavata. And Hanuman saw the elephant, and he sort of nudged the elephant out of his way. Hanuman had so much of power that the elephant, which was so mighty in itself, actually got shaken. And Indra understood that this was no ordinary child. So he invoked his divine weapon, the Vajra, and he aimed it at Hanuman's chin. So at Kesari Nandan's chin. So that happened, and Hanuman then got the name Hanuman, because Hanu means Han means chin, and Hanu means chin, and Man means disfigured. So one whose chin is slightly disfigured becomes known from now on as Hanuman. So that's how he gets this name, Hanuman. Then Hanuman, one with the broken chin. So you see it very nicely depicted in this picture of how the whole pastime unfolded. And then we move on to the next one, where when that happened, Hanuman fell to the ground. You can well imagine being struck by this thunderbolt of Indra. Hanuman fell unconscious, and his father Vayu, the wind god, became exceptionally angered by this. He retracted all his powers. Vayu is in charge of air, so there was no motion of air within the bodies and outside the bodies. And what happened? All the demigods, they approached Brahma. And when they approached Brahma and they said that Hanuman is now lying unconscious, Vayu is so upset that now the motion of air, which is needed for sustenance, has been withdrawn by him, and thus there is mass destruction being caused. Please help us, please help us. So Brahma, with his many heads of intelligence, could see beyond the perception of these devas. So he said to them, go and beg forgiveness. And he himself came, and he sprinkled some water from his water pot on Hanuman, and Hanuman was revived. And here we learn a very important lesson, that when it is it is the lesson of forgiveness. How often it is like we can commit an offense and then we hesitate to beg forgiveness. Often people don't have the courage, one can say, to beg forgiveness. The very act of begging forgiveness for one's own wrongdoings is such a virtuous quality. Here we see that the demigods, who are such great personalities, acknowledging their erroneous behavior and apologizing. So we learn from that we're never too important to say the word sorry, to apologize for and to recognize our own mistakes. Learning to apologize is the first and most important step in healing process. Not only does it show that the recipient or the person who you're saying the apology to, that you acknowledge their hurt, but it also opens up a way for them to forgive you. Then secondly, an apology here is followed, it's not just verbal, lip service. It's not just verbal. It's now followed by actions. The devatas, they didn't just utter their apology, but then they voluntarily started to offer many benedictions to Hanuman, blessing him with so many powers that would help him in his service to Sri Ramachandra in the future. So Hanuman receives blessings. Indra took off his garland and he placed it around Hanuman's neck, saying, "From this day on he shall be invulnerable to my thunderbolt." The sun god then said, "I shall bestow upon him 100 paths of my brilliance. Also when he begins to study the scriptures, I shall enable him to quickly learn all aspects of knowledge. None shall exceed him in scriptural understanding." Yamaraj granted him invulnerability to his rod and freedom from ailment. Kuvera also blessed him that he would remain unwearied in battle. So here the great devas are offering their benedictions. Shiva said, "He shall be immune to my weapons and from death and at my hands." Vishvakarma added, "This Vanar shall be invulnerable to all celestial weapons forged by me, and he shall be long lived." Finally Brahma said, "O wind god, your son shall be invincible in battle. He will prove that terror of his foes and the shelter of his friends. This jewel among monkeys shall be able to change his form at will and go wherever he pleases at any speed he likes. No Brahman's curse will be able to kill him. His movements shall be unimpeded and he will become glorious." So Hanuman had the wealth of all of these blessings. But Hanuman is Hanuman. He is a baby monkey at this stage. So monkey is known for being mischievous by nature. Hanuman, knowing that he was above all of these bad things due to the blessings that we just read of all the powerful devas, he became a very, very mischief child. How mischief? When sages used to be sitting in deep meditation, Hanuman would go and he would pull their long beards. When sages would with closed eyes be offering their water and oblations, Hanuman would go and drink that water. Hanuman, they couldn't curse him because no curse would work on him, Brahma had said. Sometimes he would climb on them, he would chew on their clothes when they entered the water to bathe. He would throw water on their sacrifices, on the fire yagyas. When a sage would be meditating, when he would in deep meditation, by Hanuman's mystic powers, he would make that sage levitate. And then the sage would wonder, why am I floating? So the sages, they had an Easter Gosi. They became very perturbed by the situation that Hanuman was becoming such a disturbance to their practices. So they visited his parents and they reported his mischief and decided that the solution would be that they would cast a spell over Hanuman. And this spell would be so that he would now forget all the powers that he got from all these powerful personalities. And only at the time when he's reminded that he has these powers, and it would be needed for him to use those powers in the service of Sri Ram. At that time, he would at once remember and regain all of these powers. So after this incident, Hanuman became the most obedient and saintly personality. He would go about worshipping the sages, performing menial services for them. Hanuman's mother, Anjana, was a very saintly woman, and she trained him thus, that he should serve the great personalities in such a way. And Hanuman became a student of the sun god, Surya Dev, and thus he became learned in all the Vedic sciences. In fact, he mastered all the arts and sciences from the Vedas. And at the end of his education, he had to give Guru Dakshin. In Vedic tradition, that is what they do. They give Guru Dakshin to the teacher. So he approached Surya Dev and he asked what Dakshin he could give to him. And Surya said that he must become the minister of his own son, Surya's own son, who was Sugriv. So there was another great Vanar, this type of monkey-like personality, whose existence came about due to Surya Dev. So, and his name was Sugriv. So, if you're familiar with the Ramayana, you'd know that Sugriv played such an important part in Lord Ram's pastimes of reclaiming Sita Devi from Lanka. So thus Hanuman, he became the very, very close associate, trusted associate of Sugriv. And then Hanuman, being the most dedicated servant, he was on together with his team stationed at the at the shore of the ocean. And at that time, Sampat, the brother of Jatayu, the eagle Jatayu that you heard about, he could see in the distance that Sita was taken to Lanka. And at that time, Jambavan, the bear, who is the son of Brahma also, and who's been in existence practically from, the time of creation, who knows everything, he said to Hanuman, "Hanuman, amidst us, you are the only person who would be capable of achieving this task of flying over the ocean and locating Sita Devi." So thus Hanuman, he was able to jump 800 miles over the ocean to Lanka by all of these benedictions. So Nishingananda Prabhu explained very nicely many things about the journey and who he met, and he was telling you about all the demons that Hanuman meets on the way. So Hanuman, he is Sita Devi. She represents the highest emblem of love or bhakti. And Hanuman, what is he trying to do? He's trying to bring Sita back to Lord Ram. So this journey is like our journey to in our devotional path. And during this journey, as you heard, there were many tests. Varuna sent Menaka the mountain of solid gold first. And when this mountain of solid gold was sent, what happened? Hanuman, he said no. He's not going to, he maintained his determination as the most dedicated servant. He was unswerving in his dedication. In the Bhagavad Gita, it's explained, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarva Bhutanam Gnatva Mam Shantim Richati, in chapter 5, text 29. Krishna says, a person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material misery. So this journey, even though it was fraught with obstacles and tests, by the example of Hanuman, we see how to remain via vasatmika buddhir, fixed in our understanding. So in the Bhagavad Gita, there's that other verse in chapter 241, vasatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahusaka hyanantascha buddhayo vya vasatni yanim, that those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branch. So how was Hanuman able to maintain such a single pointed determination to be unswerved in this path? How did he achieve this? Because he understood. Bhagavad Gita's divine words come to mind again. Bogeshvarya prasaktanam tava parita chetasam vyavasatmika buddhir samado na vidyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense gratification, Krishna says, and to sense enjoyment and material opulence, who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Godhead does not take place. So Hanuman, he had risen above all of this. Thus, when Varuna sent the golden mountain to offer Hanuman a resting place, he declined. He said that when he was on a mission to serve his divine Lord, Lord Ram, there's no time to rest until his mission was accomplished. So on our path of service, this is a very serious test that we too can encounter. One very pure Vaishnava Acharya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, has written that in this process of bhajana kriya or devotional service, there are two types of devotion. One is nishta, which is fixed, and the other is anishta, or flickering. With faith, one should learn devotional service under the merciful direction of a sadhu, he says. And when he attains the stage of firm faith and engages in nishta, fixed devotional service, then it is his perfection. Until he attains fixed devotional service, his service is simply flickering. And in the stage of flickering devotional service, there are 6 different things that happen. One is utsamai, that one may have false confidence, or ganatarala, make sporadic endeavors. Vyoda vikalpa, indecision. So sporadic endeavors may mean that one day is very enthusiastic, the other day is enthusiasm is down. Then the third one we said was Vyuda vikalpa, indecision. Should I get married? Should I stay a brahmachari? Should I do this? Should I do that? He's incapable of making proper decisions. His mind is on that flickering platform. Then there's another thing, Vishaya Sangara. He struggles with his senses. That is not yet on the platform of spontaneity. Then there's Niyam Akshama, inability to uphold vows. Sometimes he may take a vow that, okay, every Ekadasi I'm going to do this. But he falls short because he gets overpowered by the modes. His devotion is not steady. It is anishta, it is flickering. And then there's Taranga Rangani, or enjoying the facilities of bhakti. So sometimes the acharyas explain wealth may come, fame may come on the path of bhakti. People may praise you for being a devotee. So many things can come your way. And if you do not use your intelligence to understand that this all belongs to Krishna, it doesn't belong to me. All this wealth is coming to me. For what purpose? For me to engage it in the Lord's higher service. If one takes it for one's own enjoyment, then one becomes a debtor to those people. Prabhupada just told that to his disciples, that if you take donations from people, and you use it for yourself and not for the service of the Lord, you become a lifetime debtor to those individuals. So then we go to Surasa. As you heard, Surasa, she wanted to swallow Hanuman, and she represents the pride. It's very easy to become affected by pride. Pride is is so familiar to all of us who have been in this material world for lifetimes and lifetimes. Just as Hanuman, when he was encountering Surasa, he became big and she became bigger. And when he became bigger, she became even bigger. So the false ego is like this. It can thus become an obstacle, that I'm a better devotee than the other. The false ego can become bigger and bigger and bigger. But how did Hanuman defeat her? We'll hear just now. So when the false ego starts to pronounce to our consciousness that I'm a better person than the other, we must remember that all of us who are endeavoring to please Lord Ramachandra are like the variegated leaves on a tulsi plant. Some are big, some are small, some are wilted, some are dry, but they all have the equal ability to bring pleasure to Lord Krishna, and he accepts them in no matter what condition they are. You may have heard many a speaker mention the example or the analogy of the two water pots. One was cracked and one was whole, with no cracks. Yet the person carrying water up the mountainous path continued to fill water in the cracked pot. And as he climbed up the hill, that pot would be empty because all its water would leak on the pathway. However, even the cracked pot had a purpose. It water on the side on which the cracked pot was sprinkling water every day in the endeavors of the water carrier. All the plants began to blossom and offer very beautiful fruit and flowers for the pleasure of the Lord. Why? Because the cracked pot had a purpose. Every devotee who has whose endeavors may appear like the cracked pot, incomplete, not so robust, every person, big or small, like the squirrel and Hanuman, all have a part in bringing pleasure to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hanuman, how did he defeat this demoness Surasa? Who represents pride. Hanuman became very small. What does that mean? That means humility. Then the other demoness, Shimika, what did she do? Shimika, she tried to grab Hanuman's shadow while he was flying over the ocean. And she swallowed Hanuman, who entered into the deep cause of her heart and shattered her. This demoness represents envy. She grabbed Hanuman's shadow, and with envy, she focused on, what does that mean? When a person is envious, what do? They focus on the bad qualities of others. They're unable to focus on goodness in others. So Shimika, she represented that quality of envy. And how does one get rid of envy? Envy within the heart, like Hanuman entered the heart and shattered. Chetodarpana marjanam, that one cleanses the heart with the process of sonic vibration, the transcendental sound vibration of the holy names Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And it's followed by another very important piece of advice by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After the verse Chetodarpana marjanam, he says Trinada Pisanechana, that we should become more humble than a blade of grass, and be ready to offer all respects to others, to be more tolerant than a tree. So these are means of how one has to surrender to the higher process for the cleansing of the heart. You see, the problems that we're experiencing today were caused by our mentality yesterday. So a problem cannot be solved with the same consciousness that it has been created. We have to reach beyond it. Many of our problems, all our problems in the material world, is actually a product of material consciousness. And to find a solution to all of our material problems, we have to raise our consciousness and take shelter of something that is higher, a higher consciousness, and thereby we accept the divine instructions of books like the Ramayana, the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam. Then Hanuman, he encountered Lankini also when he entered Lanka. So when Hanuman went to Lanka, Hanuman, the most dedicated servant. So when Hanuman went to Lanka, his journey is very, very amazing. Hanuman enters Lanka, and one of the things that is like very striking is the humility of Hanuman. And this humility, what does it mean? Because it's such an important criteria for our existence, for our spiritual development, for our growth, for our achievement of peace in our existence. What does humility mean? Humility means not to encroach on the rights of others. However, it should not be self-destructive. It must be natural, because humility is accepting no position, because a servant has no independent position, because he's always at the command of the master. He's always situated within the infinite possibility, because he's taken shelter of the infinite Lord. The servant is humble to his master, not in a bad way. His humility is actually directed chiefly towards his master, not that he is dumb. It is with intelligence. Be humble towards the Lord's own and to the Vaishnavas. When it's necessary for Hanuman to burn the city of Lanka, when his tail was set on fire by Ravana, Hanuman's humility was not disturbed. It's not that his humility took a backseat and anger took the forefront. No, Hanuman still understood that this act of burning Lanka is not for my taking revenge. It is not for the fact that I was humiliated and the pride of me, my tail, has been set alight. No, Hanuman used it as an opportunity in humble service of the Lord, that this will be an appropriate message to Ravan, because he came as a messenger of Lord Ram. In his humble Hanuman, he actually in all aspects he displayed this humility. At no point, even when he was being taunted, tied and being dragged through the streets of Lanka, so to speak, when all the asuras were taunting him, Hanuman maintained his calm disposition. And even when he entered Lanka, you'll find when he approached Mother Sita, he didn't approach her with pride. He approached her with great humility, and that makes him so much more attractive, so much more of the type of personality we want to adopt as our role model. So, it is often said a Vaishnava should not be eager to, having said that, the whole thing about Hanuman setting Lanka on fire, a question may arise in one's consciousness that, a saintly person shouldn't be so eager to inflict physical punishment on anyone. Hanuman is a Vaishnava after all, but he's seen to destroy so many lives. Even Arjuna, we just spoke of from the Bhagavad Gita. Even Arjun, he was a Vaishnava, but he's, now destroying so many other personalities, inflicting physical punishment. Why? Even Krishna, Lord Ram, is also seen to kill so many demons in war. because simply a show of meekness does not constitute the real meaning of humility. When there is insult to the Guru or the Vaishnavas, a devotee will oppose the blasphemers according to his might. So we find that there's a place where everything can be used in Krishna's service, in the Lord's service, in Lord Ramachandra's service. Every quality can be used. So, still on the subject of Hanuman's humility, I just wanted to tell you about the one time when Narad Muni, he once went to visit Hanuman. And it's this story is from the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. It's another scripture. And Narad is going to different devotees and he's trying to ascertain the different levels of devotion. So he goes to Prahlad Maharaj and he praises Prahlad. But Prahlad says to Narad, I'm not the great devotee. You have yet to meet Hanuman. And he praises Hanuman. And then when Narad Muni goes to Hanuman and he starts to praise Hanuman, how you have done this in the service of Lord Ram, and you have done this because and Prahlad has said you have served Lord Ram in such special methods. You're definitely the topmost devotee. Hanuman was not in the least bit affected to think, yes, now someone has recognized me. No, Hanuman, he said, my dear Narad, I am not the greatest personality. You are yet to meet the Pandavas. The Pandavas, they are greater devotees than me. So Hanuman, he doesn't accept any pride, any glory for himself, is always reposing it onto others. When a very important lesson for our day-to-day life from Hanuman was how when Hanuman entered Lanka, Lankini, she tried to stop him. Hanuman was not affected by her negativity. Similarly, in life, there will be so many people trying to put you down, to stop you from reaching your higher goals. We should not become discouraged. Why? Because the principle is that we do not take ownership of other people's negativity. We should be resolute in our own positive outlook to life and understand our mission, our positive goals, and not become affected by other people's negativity. Hanuman, you can see, he didn't take ownership of the darkness of Lankini. He remained resolute in purpose. Hanuman's motive was so pure. Hanuman, when he went to Lanka and he was looking for Sita Devi, he saw so many beautiful women. But you may have heard, Hanuman's a brahmachari. Hanuman does not look at women. But here he found himself having to scrutinize all the women in his search for Sita Devi. And he questioned himself. Is this am I breaking my brahmacharya by looking at all of these beautiful women? And because he was resolute in his understanding of his position as a servant of Lord Ram, that every breath of his existence was for the pleasure of Lord Ramachandra. Hence he understood that his purpose in scrutinizing these women was not for his own sense gratification, but it was for Lord Ram's purpose, for Lord Ram's pleasure. So thus he could accept anything, any situation that he wouldn't ordinarily accept, he could accept for the pleasure of Sri Ram. That brings us to the glorious position of recognizing his glorious position of selflessness, another important quality. So then Hanuman, he enters Lanka, and then our separation from the Lord. What is it governed by? It's governed by false ego, that we think we are the Lord of all we survey. We feel that everything within our reach is for our pleasure. And this becomes our anchor in the material world. And in order to become freed from it. We can't be freed, like we said just now, with our own mentality, the same mentality that landed us here. We need to reach out to spiritual guides. So the purity of the guide is another very important thing. That we are suffering in this world, material world, which is like Lanka. And Sita, just like she suffered in separation from Ram, we're suffering. And Hanuman, he's like the pure representative of God who is coming to rescue us. So the living entity is entrapped in a material body. You and I have a material body. We have 5 working senses and 5 knowledge acquiring senses. That makes it 10. So these are like the 10 heads of Ravan, who was influenced by lust. So we have to understand that our position is to engage the 5 working senses, the 5 knowledge acquiring senses in the service of the Lord, to become freed from this all devouring sinful enemy called lust. So Prabhupada, one time, Prabhupada was in a Pandal program, like a big sort of marquee program, and many people were bowing down to Prabhupada as he was walking out of the program. So one disciple of Prabhupada's was right next to him, and Prabhupada asked him, "Do you know why they're bowing down to me?" And the devotee said, before the devotee could answer, Prabhupada said, "Because I'm free of lust." Once in Boston, Prabhupada was in a taxi, and the taxi driver, he looked in the rearview mirror, and he asked Prabhupada, he said, "You're a Swami?" So Prabhupada said, "Yes." So then the taxi driver is Western, so he said, "Does that mean that you're a Swami, you meditate on a bed of nails?" Prabhupada said, "No, more than that. If you put me in a room full of naked women, I will not be disturbed." And the driver said, "Oh, very powerful." So Prabhupada, he could be in this world and not be affected by the circumstances of this world. And he advised us that we should raise our consciousness to the level that we become like lotuses. That a lotus is such a beautiful flower, but it grows in muddy water. Yet its beauty, its existence is not affected by the muddy water. It takes whatever it can from the muddy existence, and it turns it into a beautiful offering to the Lord. So even though we're in the material world, whatever comes our way, we should be able to offer it back for purification in this fire of devotion. Hanuman meets Sita Devi. So this is like Hanuman, we said, is like the representative of a guru, and Sita Devi is like here us in the material world, separated from the Lord. And what does the guru do? He tests the disciple. So similarly, Hanuman, he was also testing Sita Devi. And 5 things that should be very prominent in someone who is qualified or regards himself as an appropriate disciple for elevation. One is, he has to have concentrated attention on one's objective, totally focused on the mission and purpose. That means nishta, not anishta. Then one should have absolute faith in the power and mercy of Lord Ram. Like Sita Devi at the time when Ravan was trying to infuse her with fear and shake her determination, shake her resolution, he produced an illusory head of Lord Ram, and he took it to Sita Devi, saying that, "Look, Ramachandra is dead now. He's not going to come to rescue you. Come into my palace and accept my offer to become my chief queen." And Sita Devi rejected that offer as one would reject poison. Sita Devi's faith and power in the mercy of Lord Ram was unwavering. Then the third point, receptivity and reverence for the spiritual guide. Sita Devi, when this Hanuman, not a human, not a monkey, came and started chanting the glories of Lord Ram, she didn't think, "Oh, who are you to be singing the glories of Lord Ram?" You are not a human being. No, she became so enchanted she saw behind the bodily concept. She exhibited reverence. So in whatever form one's spiritual guide is, like the Bhagavatam tells us, the trees could be your guide. So you could have shiksha, you can get shiksha from so many aspects of nature. Always remain humble, accept reverence and respect to everybody else, and thus your heart would be a proper receptacle to receive the goodness everything has to offer to you. Then the lack of envy. One should not have envy within one's heart. Reject, doubt, and misinterpret the instructions of a saintly person. One should have lobha, intense greed to gain association, to again be associated with the Lord. One should feel this endeavor, this lobha in one's every endeavor, like Sita Devi did. So we should aspire to come to that platform, but not artificially imitate. Then we go to the spiritual guide helping the lost souls. We get nourishment. How? Hanuman, he offered to Sita Devi nourishment through the glories of Lord Ram. Understanding that her heart was burning in separation, he poured the glories of Lord Ram into Sita Devi's ear, and thus was able to pacify her. He offered protection through the names of Sri Ram by giving her that ring, and then further glorifying Sri Ramachandra. It transforms and purifies the mind by doing these things of the living entity. So the spiritual guide does not take dakshin or take attention, take time from the individual, but is giving this transcendental gift in these manners that we have explained. So sometimes Hanuman, he's regarded as a person using anger in the service of the Lord. However, in Valmiki's Ramayana, Hanuman explains that one should give up anger just like a snake gives up its skin, right? And when you find that Hanuman used whatever seemingly bad situation not for himself, to pacify himself. He didn't allow anger to cloud his vision. Hanuman remained resolute in intelligence. He had given up all anger, all selfishness, and he used everything for Ram. Then when Sita Devi started to glorify him after he set Lanka on fire, and he appeared before her and said, now, give me your blessings to now go back to Sri Ram and deliver your message to him. Then Sita Devi started to glorify Hanuman, because now she had already realized what Hanuman had done, set Lanka on fire, did so many amazing things in the short space of time, single-handedly while he was there. When she started to profusely glorify Hanuman, what did he do? Imagine the goddess of fortune is offering glory to him. With all humility, Hanuman bowed down to her and he said, Mata, in Sri Ramachandra's army, there are many, many monkeys that are equal to me and better than me. And he started to glorify Sugriv and Angad and Nal and Neel and all of the other members of the army. He didn't accept glorification for himself. He simply passed it on to others. Very, very nice quality of a Vaishnava. So Hanuman's mood and emotion. A servant should understand the mood and the mission of his master to become an efficient servant. So when Hanuman now was returning from Lanka to Sri Ramachandra, he was going to bring the news that he found Sita Devi. Up until this moment, Sri Ram, his master, was supposedly burning in the fire of separation. His heart was filled with anxiety. And Hanuman, while he was returning, was meditating on how he would phrase his first words to Sri Ram. Listen to this. In the Bhagavad Gita we hear, Krishna says that we should practice the austerity of speech, that our speech should be pleasing, truthful, and beneficial to others. Pleasing, truthful, and beneficial. So Hanuman, he knows this knowledge. So because the knowledge of the Gita is eternal. So Hanuman, he wanted to speak his message in such a way that it doesn't increase the anxiety, pain, and suffering of Sri Ram. So he was thinking, what would I say? So in Valmiki's Ramayana, it's explained that he worded it like this. He said, "Found Sita I." Because Hanuman was thinking, if he began by saying, "I found Sita," when he uttered "I," then Lord Ramachandra would hear the first word and his mind would increase in anxiety and pain. I didn't find Sita. Hanuman's statement could be, I didn't find Sita. I was unsuccessful. Then he was thinking, if he says, "Sita I found," as soon as he hears the word Sita, he may think, did Sita die? Is Sita in difficulty? Sita could not be found. The sentence could, build up into so many things. It will also increase Lord Ram's anxiety, pain. So being the perfect servant, he decided to say, "Found Sita I." So the most important part of the sentence, found. Message delivered loud and clear. Anxiety nullified. Pleasure heightened. Then the word Sita, increasing the feelings that the word found had invoked. And then insignificantly at the end, I. How amazing is that? He didn't worry that it would sound like some uncivilized sentence construction. He was more determined to actually bring pleasure and appease the Lord, not increase the sorrow of his master even by 1 millisecond, so to speak. What a glorious servant. What a glorious lesson for us mere mortals to learn from. Then Nishingananda Prabhu explained so many things about the glories of Sri Ram's name and Hanuman. In the past few days, he's been telling you different pastimes about Gopal Guru, the person who was chanting Lord Ramachandra's name while performing his morning ablutions, and Hanuman beat him up. But Lord Ram wanted to solidify in Hanuman's consciousness for the benefit of us that his name, he was known different from his name, etc. Then this pastime depicted in this lovely picture of how Hanuman, he was hiding behind the Sri Ramachandra one night when Lord Ram came to see how come these rocks are floating. The monkeys are writing my name on it, and these rocks are floating. So he picked up a rock and he threw it without writing his name, and the rock sank. And Hanuman started to giggle, and Hanuman was saying that, "My Lord, as the yugas pass, you will not be present, and the rock-like hearts of the living entities who will take birth in these degraded ages will need to be saved. And the only thing that will save the rock-like hearts of the residents of Kali Yuga and in time to come will be your holy name. So your holy name will make their rock-like hearts float towards you." So it displayed the amazing qualities of Sri Ram's name. And then Nishingananda Prabhu gave you another pastime about the pearls that we will mention at the end also. And he also told you about how, which I also mentioned earlier in the class, that Lord Shiva, he spends his time chanting these vibrant names and teaching all of us how to take shelter, how it is the rope that will actually pull us out of our deep and dark existence. It is the salvation for this age of Kali. Then let's just quickly take a detour and go to Jagannath Puri. So in Orissa, in Jagannath Puri, there's a very magnificent temple of Lord Jagannath, the Lord of the universe, Baladev and Subhadra Maharani, as you see in this picture. And then at the entrance, they have a deity of Hanuman. But this deity of Hanuman has a sort of handcuff or chain around his one ankle. So why is this? How did Hanuman end up in Puri, in Orissa? So one time, the ocean god, Varuna, the god in charge of the ocean, he had the deep burning desire to touch the feet of Lord Jagannath. And the priests of the temple, when they saw the ocean rising and flowing towards their temple, they could see that if they don't do anything to stop it, the ocean is now going to invade their temple. And they didn't want that to happen because it will cause a disturbance in their service. So they ran to Lord Jagannath and they say, "Who could save us? What can be done?" And Lord Jagannath revealed to them that there's one personality that you can approach for assistance who will undoubtedly help you, and this is Hanuman. So they went and they prayed to Hanuman, who is Chiranjeevi, who lives eternally, and Hanuman appeared there, and Hanuman accepted the service. He said, "For the service of my Lord, in whichever form, I'm always willing." So Hanuman came and he was guarding the ocean. But at that time, in Jagannath Puri, in the temple, the offerings to Lord Jagannath was nothing but simple khichdi. So I'm sure you all know that what khichdi is, and you've tasted khichdi. It is rice and lentils cooked together simultaneously, with very little spice, not an elaborate prep. And this simple offering was made to the deity. Hanuman, he was thinking, service I do not mind, but one thing I do miss is good feast of Ayodhya. In Ayodhya, there was always wonderful prasadam. So one day, Hanuman decided, I think I can go very quickly, because we all know Hanuman can leap distances. He could leap over 800-mile ocean very quickly. So, he could just go to Ayodhya, have a feast, and come back and be at Puri in his position of service. So Hanuman did that. He went away, and at that time the ocean god said, "Oh wow, Hanuman's not there anymore guarding, so it's my opportunity to go." So the ocean made its way to enter the temple and touch the feet of the Lord. And at that time Hanuman just appeared, and they asked him, "Where have you?" At that time the priests, they were praying to Lord Jagannath, what can we do? Where is Hanuman? What has happened? So Lord Jagannath revealed to them, Hanuman is just here, and Hanuman appeared just at that time. So they asked Hanuman, "Where have you been?" And then Hanuman explained he was hungry. There's only khichdi here in Jagannath Puri, so he went to Ayodhya to have a nice feast. Then from that time onwards, Lord Jagannath made it possible that there would be all types of very nice offerings, 54 different types of offerings, 52 or 54 types of offerings throughout the day, and Hanuman would get all of these nice offerings as well. So Hanuman is now well taken care of in Puri, but just so that he doesn't escape again, just to make sure the priests there keep a chain out of love on the foot of Hanuman. So Hanuman, although he is glorified in so many ways for so many amazing services, he never takes any glory for himself. When anyone starts to glorify him, he says, what does he say? Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram. If he, in the beginning of his service, at the end of his service, he will also always say Jai Shri Ram. So the holy name is like the Shravanadi Jal. It is like the water that enters through the vessel of our ears and nourishes the depths of our soul in the regions of our heart and helps the devotional creeper of our heart grow until it creeps past this material world and encircles itself on the lotus feet of the Lord in back home, back to Godhead. So one time in Ayodhya, when the monkey soldiers were returning to Ayodhya, then Hanuman, he told the monkeys, when we reach Ayodhya, behave like civilized, just try to be civilized. Forget the monkey behavior, just do as I say. So Hanuman had everything under control. So the prasadam came and was being served. And then they served a chickpea sabji first. So Hanuman, he wanted to check if the chickpeas were cooked. So he pressed the chickpea, like your mothers would have done. Press the chickpea. So the chickpea peel split and the chickpea kind of tossed itself into the air. So Hanuman didn't want to waste it because it's prasad, so he caught it with his mouth. So the monkeys, they thought, Mahajana Yena Kata Sapanta, whatever a great person does, we must follow. So they all started to press the chickpeas and it popped in the air and they all started to jump. And then Lord Ram entered and he said, Hanuman, what's happening? Hanuman said, my dear Lord Shri Ram, this is monkey behavior. And Lord Ram was laughing. So then Lord Ram invited Hanuman. He said, you come and sit by me and take a prasadam. Hanuman said, no, I can't sit with you on the same platform. I belong lower at your lotus feet, with great humility. And it pleased Lord Ram even more. And he desired the association of Hanuman, his great devotee, even more. So then, by that time, everybody had been served, because Hanuman in his humility allowed everybody else to be served. Thousands and thousands of other monkeys. And he himself was the last person. And lo and behold, being the last person, there was no more banana plates. So at that time, when Lord Ram invited him, bring your plate and sit here by me. He said, my Lord, I do not have a plate. So Lord Ram took his banana leaf and with his thumb, he made the center of a line in the banana leaf. You can see it's very unusual that it has a sort of a rivulet place for gravy, you would think. But it is actually Lord Ram's doing, that this was a division. So Hanuman had half and Lord Ram had half, out of their love, that the master is trying out of his love to beat the love of the devotee, and the devotee is trying in his way to exceed his devotion to the Lord. So this is the glorious interaction between Lord Ram and Hanuman, and thus all these leaves they bear that as a to commemorate this love between Ram and Hanuman. And of course, you know the pastime of that Nishingananda Prabhu told you of the pearls, when Mother Sita, in remuneration, being so pleased with Hanuman's service, she offered him the most precious necklace of pearls. Hanuman started to break each pearl open and put it by his ear, look at it, and then toss them away. And Lord Ramachandra said, Kya? What is happening? What is this? And Hanuman said, my Lord, these pearls have no value to me if they do not have the jewel of your name. The touchstone of your name is the most precious thing, is the most precious and prized of my possessions. So we can see, so from this we understand that Hanuman's position is indeed so glorious. Actually, one time, I'll conclude with this little story, and feel free to write your questions and comments either on the chat at YouTube or in the WhatsApp group, and we'll make a humble attempt to answer them. So Hanuman, once with Lord Ramachandra, he noticed that Lord Ram, he had a book, and this book appeared to be very precious to Lord Ramachandra. And Lord Ram, he was looking at this book, and he asked Lord Ram, "What is that book?" And Lord Ram said, "This book has the name of all my very dear devotees." And then Hanuman, he said, "Can I have a look at this book?" Because he was thinking, I'm sure my name will appear in this book. So he looked, and lo and behold, his name wasn't there. So then he was a little downcast, but he didn't want to speculate. So he asked Lord Ramachandra, "My Lord, have I erred you in any way? Am I not counted as your devotee?" Lord Ram smiled at him, and Lord Ram said, "Hanuman, your name is kept in a very special book because you are a category on your own." And he took one book out that only had the names of Hanuman. And thus we understand that Hanuman is such a very dear and unparalleled servant of the Lord. We see this very nice picture of the Lord embracing Hanuman. When Hanuman came back with that news that he had found Sita Devi, Lord Ram says to him that as a forest mendicant, I have nothing else to offer to you besides this embrace. And Hanuman said, everything is contained within this embrace, everything I ever need. And that's how we see that many an artist, many a saint has depicted this wonderful embrace of Sri Ram and Hanuman in such a wonderful manner for us to always remember this exemplary act of devotion, this exchange of love between Sri Ramachandra and Hanuman. Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai. So thank you very much. Are there any questions? There's no questions, no comments. Tomorrow, Nishingananda Prabhu will do the transformational leadership of Sri Ramachandra. It's fasting. Lord Ram appeared at noon, but Srila Prabhupada, our Acharya, he told us to fast till moonrise. So whatever your spiritual guides are telling you, follow that. And although in these trying circumstances, try to make an offering. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Tvayam Yome Bhakta Prayachati. If you offer with love and devotion a fruit, a flower, a leaf, some water, I will be, he becomes purchased by that. So please make your offerings of the holy name, of whatever you can, to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman tomorrow. These days are Mothers of Devotion days, where the access to these great personalities is permissible in a direct way. So I wish you all the best for Sri Ram Navami, and I wish that you would bless us also by your sincere and devotional prayers. Thank you very much. Until tomorrow, Hare Krishna. Jai Sri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman.